Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts, Vertek and Chibi Bree, are back from their latest adventures.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today being the 18th of March, 2022, we are in episode 115. And first, I would like to say thank you, Paradox Gaming Network, for the raid. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tavern. Grab yourselves a drink, hang out, and meet our guest here, Lyat. How are you today, Lyat?
I'm quite well. How about you two?
Fantastic.
I did not update. That is not the guest.
Whoops.
That was last week's guest. Let me update this other thing. But I'm doing pretty well outside of being scrubby.
I'll just type that in right now.
I got it. I got this side.
Mwahaha.
You take care of that side. I got this side.
All right. Covered. All right, but yeah, today's episode is what lies in store. So maybe talking about a bunch of stuff about what may be coming up. Yeah. Who knows? We'll figure it out. So first things first, as we always do, we take a couple minutes to let our guests introduce themselves to everybody out there. So those who may not know who you are, what do you do, and what is your favorite thing about Ashes?
So, my name's Lyat. I'm a member of the two-party team known as the Cyan Firefly with my co-host Azali. And we were primarily a gaming YouTube channel. We're mostly in recess, mostly because Ashes of Creation isn't really an active game that we can play right now. But as soon as that game comes up, we'll be happy to be doing a lot more content based around that. And that's mostly it. Lately, I have been doing personal writing and focusing on my actual day job.
Oh, I know that pain. The day job soaks up all the time.
3-month resub, by the way. Thank you, Grumpy. Really appreciate
Thank you, Grumpy,
for the support. Yes, all the hype. Make sure to use your cheers emote we have. We're working on others, getting those back. But yes, we're super happy to have Lyat back because we've had him on 2 times before. This is our 3rd time having him. It's super grateful for it, by the way, because we were having a little bit of difficulty getting a guest kind of last minute today, but we were able to thanks to the graciousness of Lyat. And I've scoured.
Lyat's a superhero?
Yes, I agree. I've scoured. Go ahead, sorry.
Anytime. I'm always happy to be here.
I scoured the forums and Twitter, mainly Reddit and the forums, though, for information and topics that people are talking about and things that seemed interesting. So I hope you guys enjoy the things that we picked out. And I will be working towards updating a thread with all of our show notes for each of the episodes, starting from episode 100. And we are working on getting all of our stuff up onto YouTube for you guys from episode 100, and then eventually circling back and getting older content up. But we're super excited to kind of revamp and really rev up our content to get caught up and keep on top of stuff this time. So very excited. Lots of things in the works. We couldn't do it without you.
Spinning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
sorry, I just want to add that in.
Yeah. So, what's this question you found about archetype ability variants?
So, I thought this would be a really good icebreaker question. And the question is, what skill archetype ability variant would you like to see in a specific class? I know specifically for me, I would like the ability to maybe have an interesting variant to my healing, where the heals are augmented. But going into their forum, this is a Reddit post, going into their post a little bit more, they said, with 8 archetypes and 64 possible combinations to make a class, the Intrepid team responsible for class design have a daunting task ahead, making classes distinct with reasonably unique skills. which will be variants or morphs of their primate archetype. So like when they had the age-old example of tank mage, you could just blink instead of dash kind of thing. So they want to know, what skill variant would you like to see in a specific class for the archetypes? I thought it was a great question.
It is. Well, I guess first off, while you're trying to think of a skill there, Liat, what do you think is going to be the first archetype combination you're going to try?
So, I'm pretty simple. I love my magic classes, so I love to do anything with mages and throwing off massive AoEs and taking out a bunch of weaker mobs in one shot. So seeing a lot of variation on that aspect, I would find pretty cool. Say if you did like a fighter mage, for example, perhaps if you did your meteor shower, it would cause down a rain of arrows or something like that. That might be interesting.
Little spectral arrows, almost like Archer from Fate.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like the Gilgamesh Archer, the one that had opens up the big gate in the sky and all the swords and everything shoot right through. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I dig it. I mean, that would explain. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Gates of Babylon, I think that was.
Yeah. Exactly. That would definitely help explain the skills that a lot of archers in games have, where just they have one bow and it's one person, but yet you see 700 arrows falling from the sky. Well,
yeah.
How is that person shooting all them?
I feel like that would be like a spell sword almost, right? But archer
but it would
version.
Be arrows. Yeah. Maybe some spears in there because you have some, I don't know, some ogre friends back there shooting them through.
Just all the pointy things.
yeah. All the pointy things with shafts and pew. As long as they have feathers on the back.
Can always use more DACA.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I'll share that too. The witchbrook thing. Would you like to elaborate on this witchbrook thing a little bit?
That was just evidently that's something that Chucklefish has been working on. It's a game that's supposed to be kind of like the next iteration of Stardew Valley. It's except now it's taking place in kind of like a magical wizard school rather than a farm. It's been in development for quite a while though, so not too many updates on that avenue.
So for those of you, because you weren't here, those of you here now with us, we were talking with Liat right before stream. We are reaching really, really closely to our 1K follower mark, and we wanted to do a community game night or a community hangout night. And so we were talking about a few potential things, and Witchbrook was something he was mentioning would be something interesting, possibly. Mainly along the Stardew Valley sphere, but yeah.
And the other one was, what was the other thing you mentioned?
The other thing I mentioned was actually from Dante, and he had brought up the idea of playing something called Core Keeper, which you can find on Steam. And according to Dante, it's a mix between Stardew Valley, Terraria, and Valheim.
That looked really good. That'd be a fun kind of party game.
Yeah.
Who summoneth
I spoke of his name.
That's why we don't do this. Okay?
I'm sorry. Is it a he who should not be named kind of scenario? I don't know.
I think so.
If you say his name 3 times, does he appear in your room?
Oh, that's a great question.
Sounds kind of scary to me.
But Vertek, what do you think as a good archetype for you as a spell?
You know, since playing D&D and doing the Artificer Warforged, trying to build him up as a tank, I've kind of gotten the idea of playing a tank mage or mage tank. It depends on how hard the skills influence each other towards the secondary archetype.
Gotcha.
But
I'm moving.
Sorry, I'm just looking at you like shuffle it around. But Yeah, they have the one skill already, and I say already because they had it in the Apocalypse, where it was the big red wall that a tank would put up. And I just think it would be kind of neat if you were to have something along the lines of almost like a barrier. Like if you have a bunch of things hitting you as a tank, you could have a mage blink built in with a box that it would drop them in, so it would kind of CC them into one little location, but at the same time as you being able to blink out of that box before it drops, giving you a couple seconds of joy of not being beaten in your face by clubs. So it could almost be used as a really big tank cooldown, but be very thematic between tank and mage combined.
I could see that actually, yeah.
So would that be a variation of a mage blink skill, or would that be a variation of the bulwark skill, which is the wall that you were talking about?
I think the bulwark mixing it with, never happy with camera. Pretty much. But I think it would end up having to start with probably the tank being the bulwark, because that's going to be the stronger cooldown to attach it to, I think. And then kind of mix it up with, or augment it with the blink. I think that would be a really, really neat skill.
I think I figured it out. I'm going to stop moving now. Sorry.
There you go. But yeah, put on like a 2-minute cooldown and call it, one of the big mitigation cooldowns. And that way it won't seem too powerful, That
would actually be really cool, I think.
Or maybe you could mix it with fireball and create a wall of fire that would damage people that try to go across it.
Ooh.
Fire.
I like fire.
Yeah. Huh.
Kill it with fire.
Maybe that could be a nice skill for a combination between mage and like summoner to summon, a wall of flame, or summon something to attack, a wall of something attacking between you and wherever you blinked from.
Sorry.
Or bard and force them to get up on a stage and start dancing. And they just sit there and slash dance for 2 seconds.
Wouldn't
it be funny?
So many possibilities. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if you had to do something like slash dance to actually activate like a buff to your skill? Like how you're like bardic inspiration in D&D, and they're like, okay, so how do you inspire them? Like you have to add like instead of just saying like the boring old like, I'm just gonna do bardic inspiration on so and so. I think it'd be really cool if you had to like click your emote to dance or something, or play an instrument emote.
I can only imagine right now with that description watching Witcher, and in the middle of a big battle scene with a whole bunch of people just getting slain and monsters everywhere, and there's the bard from Witcher just dancing around, throw a coin to you, Witcher, like dancing around all the swords and blades and everything, just trying to get that little performance in.
Dandelion, do something. I am.
I am. I'm dancing fool.
Oh gosh.
But how about you? The Chibi, what about you for a skill? Yeah.
I think I kind of like what one of the druid skills are with World of Warcraft, where you have like the circle of flowers or flowers that grow up off the ground and then like have a heal over time effect. I think that like nature-y combo would be cool, but I've been thinking cleric summoner mixture, which is kind of going down that druid, would be cool to have like little minions that you summon that help heal. I thought that might be kind of cool.
Might also be a ranger thing.
Yeah, or that's the other thing I was thinking is if you've ever played Overwatch, I think it's Anna, right? Or Anna, you shoot people to heal them. So I thought that'd be kind of funny too.
The little sniper.
Yeah.
You are going to take my healing arrows and you are going to like them.
Exactly.
I still think that it would be fun and funny, but which is probably why they may or not even debate putting it in. But I thought it would be funny if the closest thing to a druid could actually get a tree to come up and then squirrels to start like bombing somebody with acorns.
I will shoot you with love.
That'd be great for a more cartoony MMO.
Yeah,
Not sure Ashes
I
would do
agree.
something like that.
I could imagine just different little character creations they've created so far, though, being potential things that could come out of the woodwork and offer healing or something. Sounds dirty. Grumpy.
Grumpy guy. We got two grumpy guys in here. We got a grumpy old man and a grumpy guy.
Yeah,
Oh, goodness.
just full of grumpy people today.
Chat's about to go downhill. Quick.
So yeah, that's a good one, actually. I'll go ahead and grab that link if you want to talk about it.
Oh, okay. So, tab targets versus... I mean, this is one that comes up quite often. But yeah, tab target versus action combat. Apparently, a lot of people are leaning towards tab targeting. What do you feel there, Liat? Do you think it should be one or the other, or do you think they should still keep trying to do the hybrid?
So, I was really excited about the whole idea of the hybrid combat system. I mean, I was one of the people who really enjoyed APOC for when it was around. I played that until they closed the servers. So I was kind of always looking into what they would do to merge the idea of tab targeting and live action combat. We haven't seen a whole lot of progress in that avenue since ever. I mean, the closest thing that we got to that was, what they were doing back in Alpha 1. And really, I was heavily relying on the tab targeting elements just because trying to do their live aiming in the current state that it was particularly difficult. I didn't feel very efficient. And after, playing Final Fantasy 14 for as long as I have been, the tab targeting in that game is so smooth and so responsive that if they can replicate that feel, it might just be better for them to do that at this point. But I mean, who knows? They might innovate and make something really cool with the hybrid system, and I might eat my words, and I hope I do.
Yeah, I am taking a look through. Thank you. I'm glad you're
Just
doing that
Dante.
for all the people. For all the people watching. There you go. Heart mouse ears. But yeah, I was just taking a browse when I picked this, and a lot of people were talking about wanting to just go with tab targeting at this point, or that they felt like this late into it, maybe they just stick with it. Hello, Oracle the White. Welcome in. I'm glad you're able to finally catch a stream. Glad to have you here. Hope you find a nice, comfy place to sit and chat with us.
And Reluctant Raven, unless it's just me,
Yes.
I don't think I've seen the name around for a little while.
It has been a moment. Welcome back indeed. I was actually just thinking about you thanks to Dante. Because I was mentioning to Dante, I was looking for as a community-based podcast, people seem to think we're only looking for content creators, and the reality is it just those are the people that are more comfortable being in front of a mic with us. But we're always looking for community members to also be like, you don't have to make stuff. Like, we're not content specific, we're just community specific. So
Yeah, those are my exact thoughts, Zetrix, definitely.
Yeah,
which one exactly? What he just said?
Yes.
Okay.
Doing just the tab is the right option. Hope they prove it wrong. We'll see. The thing is, I think a lot of people think action combat and they get maybe too intense. Like, I believe their first iteration of action combat was a bit too hardcore in that direction. where it was very fine-tuned and like very narrow and very like specific. And I do believe that may end up being a bit extra. Because something like, I'm not sure if you played like Guild Wars, like that's an action combat tab and action combat hybrid there too. It's got quite a few skills that you need to tab target, and some that you just press your attack button and you're just swinging wildly and you just walk up to something and you start hitting them. That's a combination. And then every time you use something that's like a cone-based attack, it's kind of the same as every other game out there. Even with tab targeting, it hits what you're aiming at, so it's right in front of you because it's a giant cone, and then some stuff nearby. So I think it would feel a little bit more natural than people might be thinking. I just I only worry about what they say when Steven says that they're trying to make it so you can skill into making it swing farther in one direction or another. That's the only part that I have concerns about.
Yeah, I want to see how that comes together, because if you scroll down a little into that thread, there's a post from Eliatron from 25 days ago saying, nice input. Personally, I don't like action combat for Ashes. Just the fact that having to spam Q to autos, I think, is extremely annoying, as well as using up a slot for your key bindings. I think that they're having issues trying to find some balance because people expect some sort of BDO combat or something like that. If they go tab target, people will still enjoy the game. And then EL WoW responded to them saying they should do auto attacks like Guild Wars 2 did. If you hit something, then auto attack keeps using by default. If you swing in the air, it stops after one hit. So I think that's where you were going with it, right?
Yeah, it's just making it a little bit nicer, not quite as hardcore action oriented.
Yeah.
But by the way, according to some feedback we've gotten in real time here, Threather, will grant your wish. Chibi, you are now required to have 2 cups of coffee right before stream. So you can start off kind of normal-ish, and by the end of it, you're, counterpointing the soft radio voices. You can be the loud and aggressive, jumpy.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
And for our next topic, we are covering the intense and varying topic of action versus tab targeting. Ba-ba-bam!
Yeah, you gotta get that button so it just plays that music in the background.
Okay.
Has the get the little minion doing it too.
Sounds good.
Get that dramatic woodchuck.
I don't like it. 2 coffees for a hobbit might mean death, though. That's fair. I am small.
This hobbit can handle her coffee, though.
I can, though.
Believe you me. And by the way, welcome, Oracle the White.
Yes.
Welcome.
Sorry.
Like you said you can finally make a stream, so
Can't wait for Alpha 2 for Ashes. We cannot either. And I'm sorry if that was super loud for anybody. I probably should have warned you, but I was doing my best.
I think what you did was plenty of warning. Wait, excuse me.
Okay.
Clear his throat. If they didn't know what was coming, they need to get faster with their mute finger.
It was
perfect.
They're awake now too. Okay.
But yeah, to get back on topic and swing back around from the coffee, I do believe that I think tab target might be the safer way to go if they can make that smooth. So if all comes to worse, I guess doing just tab targeting would be acceptable, as long as they can do it well. The one complaint I actually had with the action combat, or even the combat in general, because it wasn't tied to just action, was having to keep hitting that Q button to auto attack, and it was my goodness. So what is it, carpal tunnel inducing, But then they changed it to where you can just at least hold the key. So that was a good move.
I will say that if they did, and they have maintained this for quite a while, if they could not get hybrid combat working, they would absolutely shift to tab targeting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And my hope is that they can get a good solution to mix the two, because it does sound like something that would be unique and welcome if they can get it to balance properly.
See, and this is actually hybrid PS2. I'm still scrolling through these comments that people are leaving. Hybrid PS2 kind of, at least in terms of New World, which is neither here or there, it says that in New World, New World has proven that trying to heal with the action combat type of system is really impossible, or damn near impossible, as they say. And people will resort to throwing AoE heals on the ground anyway. So like that for me, because I do primary healing, that for me is why I lean towards tab targeting. But
how did healing work in Terra Online?
I didn't really get very far in Terra Online. They did action healing well. Okay, I would have to try to, if they're even still alive, I'd have to try to go in and try playing that, because I'm interested in that. My biggest concern and the thing that I'm most worried about is, so please tell me if I'm wrong, but action combat is supposed to be where if you are swinging your weapon wildly, and I say wildly because you're not tab targeting onto hit somebody, and somebody is within your arc, they get hit, correct?
Yeah, it's like
You
most,
aim in a direction. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Not to mention, you usually have built-in combos, and you can transition to different combo chains.
Okay, so my concern then is if I'm trying to heal Vertec, and Dante runs between Vertec and I accidentally heal Dante and not Vertec then? Because then that's my biggest problem with it.
It would depend.
Yeah,
like the games that I've played that do healing really well with action combat usually have it as a hybrid system where there are some heals that go directly to a player that you're targeting with a tab.
Okay.
Everything else is AoE either around you or in a direction of your target, or wherever you lay a template on the ground where you're like, I want it to hit right there.
Nice, Oracle.
The ones that do it extra well also have an extra switch somewhere in your settings or in your healer kit that says, I want it to target the person missing the most health, like the biggest numbers of health, like would be great for like tank healing, because if they have 100k health, let's just throw out some random numbers here, and they're missing 25%, they're missing 25,000 life, which is only 25%. If there's somebody right next to them is a DPS and they only have 50,000 health and they're missing 25% of that, it's what's like 12 and a half k. So if you target the biggest, or you could even go to 50%, let's say 40%, whatever. Okay, so it's at 30k health is what it's sitting at. If you aim at both of those, it's going to hit the tank if they're missing the most health. Now, if you hit biggest percentage loss, then it would hit the DPS, because, 20k of their health is a gigantic portion versus 20k of a tank's, which is 20%. So it would target, you could have a switch basically if you wanted to target tank healing or group healing mainly.
Okay.
Have either of you ever played Smite?
No.
No.
Okay.
I've heard people talk about playing it.
So it's a MOBA in similar vein of like Dota 2 or League of Legends. The difference in this game is that it's primarily over the shoulder as opposed to it being an overhead view where you control units like you would in StarCraft. That game, of course, has healers in it with tons of different mechanics. And looking at that game could give you a few ideas on how to implement different healing systems in an action combat game. For example, there's a character called Aphrodite, because they're all based off of mythological gods. And she has an ability where she can designate a character as her consort or lover. I forget the term that they use. And most of her skills, whenever she does a skill, it provides a heal to her assigned character. Cupid has a heal where he summons three little hearts on the ground that other players can run over and pick one of them up to get a heal. There's tons of AoE heals that people can do. So, I mean, there's options out there. Tons of different little variations, but it'd be interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and that's also why I'm mainly holding back my official feedback or point of view on this. Opinion, I guess, is what I'm going after. It's because I want to try it first to see hands-on how Ashes intends to implement it before I yay or nay it, because I've never dealt with action combat healing before. I've mainly played World of Warcraft and I play Final Fantasy XIV as a healer. I do main white mage up until this new expansion where I've been playing a lot of Sage. So it's a very interesting difference in heal styles, but it brings a lot of like, what do I like, what do I not like when playing a healer thoughts into my mind. And this new Sage class kind of reminds me of what I think they're going after with Cleric, where like you essentially add, like I could, if Vertec was the tank or if Lyat was the tank, I'd essentially give them a specific buff that as I attack things, it heals them. So it's kind of a lot like Disc Priest, I think, in that aspect too, where you put a bunch of shields on people and then as you kill them, it heals the people with the shields. And it allows you to be, as a healer, a part of the DPS, but I feel like you have to do that part just right. Because I think we found out in, like, what, APOC and Alpha 1 that Cleric was just OP. So
well, the staff was OP is what it was. There was a staff that was bananas.
Oh, okay. That's fair. I don't think WoW was
with
fully
the staff and you
combat.
just stayed, like, basically invincible.
Yeah. WoW may not have been fully tab combat, but the way that I actually played WoW was macro combat, where I would just hover over like the person on my party and I would heal them that way.
Yeah, I think WoW was the opposite of most like very action combat feeling games, where they had mostly like 95% tab target, but every once in a while was an unaimed AoE that would blast just in your general direction forward or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was I think Pally had one of those where you hit like up to 3 people that was like directly in front of you in a tiny little cone. So you could like turn around to the rest of the raid and pop it off and then turn back or whatever.
I don't like macros in MMORPGs. You want to do higher DPS for that PK? Oh no, I agree, but I wasn't doing DPS, I was healing. And when the raid is all spread out, but I can just hover over a party bar, I don't have to try to go track that person down to heal them. I can just hover over their name and then cast the healing spell and be able to heal them really quickly that way.
You know what's really ironic though, is if you were to get rid of that healer's tool that's super convenient for a healer, the DPS would have to pay more attention, so they might actually take less damage too.
Yeah, that's
because they would
fair.
have to make sure that they stay within range of a healer and that they're in certain areas. And if you've got this, you have to run over there, or else I'm not healing you because I can't move from this spot.
Yeah. I just feel bad for not being able to heal somebody in time. If I see their health dying and I'm like, where are you? I'm trying to heal you. I just don't like that feeling. DPS for being responsible for themselves? That'll never happen. Better buff healers. I've had a few spells such as Elite Shaman that I had to place. Yeah. I think they're interesting. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing if my wife lets me die for the lulz. I don't like heli healers either. Let your DDs sink or swim. Yeah. I would let you die too, RR. Oh, jeez. Okay, before we can commit any more TPKs,
no bully.
yeah,
no bully.
no bully. I just thought that was an interesting topic that stemmed from somebody being kind of upset that there wasn't a official combat revamp announcement, but I think they've had a lot on their plate with swapping over to UE5, taking in a lot of the reports, tweaking. Actually, I believe they did tweak a little bit of the combat even during, but most of it was the animations behind the combat, where like they didn't tweak any of the skills. They just tweaked how the skills looked, and people were like, "Oh my god, it feels so much better."
Yeah. I mean, not to mention going from 4 to 5 is like revamping a lot of the core of the game, so that's a lot of work.
Exactly. It's a bit. I bet they had a lot of preparation that they had to go into with like researching and everything. So yeah. Oh, you know what I thought was really, really cool? Somebody on Reddit posted a conversation about somebody who did a mod for Skyrim. And it was essentially a voiceover mod that, or a voice recognition rather, mod that would listen, like recognize what you're saying, and you would be reading one of the options that were there to choose from. And it would be just like us right now with the conversation, except for instead of me having literally anything that I could say, it'd be like you talking to me and then me having a pop-up of different things I could like choose from, and then just reading one of those things, and then you would just respond in kind. And I thought that was a really, really cool mod, because I agree with the OP. It makes it really immersive. It makes you feel like the conversation's a lot more fluid and natural, versus like sitting there and being like, okay, and then I'm gonna click this. It was really cool to watch. It felt like you're actually having a conversation with the NPC.
Yeah, I could see that. I think it would be something fun to put in there as an option. I know I have a lot of friends that they would not want to turn that on, just because they like to, hide in the office or whatever and play, and then talking out loud to all the NPCs. People would be knocking at their door. Who are you talking to? What's going on? They would bother them more often. So they wouldn't be able to hide away.
It should definitely be like a feature you can turn on or off. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. I think it'd be a cool little feature to have, though.
It's a neat concept. It feels a little gimmicky to me, but I mean, I'm probably just not the target for that.
Yeah, I would absolutely be the target for that, and a lot of you will see why soon. But as a streamer in general, being able just to respond verbally while I'm streaming with what I'd like to choose from, I just feel like it adds to like the entertainment factor.
Indeed. Yeah, it's something I would do. I would do at least every once in a while.
Yeah. Dante has a big important question. He wants to know what our Alpha 2 release prediction is. He thinks mid-2023, like June or July.
Ooh, mid-2023. That's a way out there.
Ooh.
Yeah, a whole year and a half almost, or a year and a quarter. Mid-2099.
2099. Honestly, I see it as being either this fall, so that it's over before the winter holiday break. The way that people can push hard, do the examine everything going on in Alpha 2 and all the live updates of this and that and the other, and get really worn out and burnt at just the amount of stuff that they're gonna have to do and play around with and fix and all that. And then have time after they come back from the holiday break to really digest everything that occurred, and then start to slowly make some changes. I know it's supposed to be, starting with Alpha 2 is supposed to be a persistent server, but it could totally still be technically persistent if they just don't delete the player data by the next time they bring it up. Because it could just be, here's an update period and a maintenance period, and then we're going to bring it back up in like a month and a half. And then it's going to stay up. But it's either going to be that, or it's going to be after the holiday break, and then give it a month for them to get back in the swing of things, and then they'll kick it off. That's my prediction.
Hi, Witchip. Welcome in. What do you think, Layat?
I'm gonna go along with Vertex reasoning, but I'm gonna, just for the fun of it, I'm gonna try to give you a specific date. I'm gonna guess October 15th, 2022.
Okay. I like it. That sounds about right. Give them a good month and a half to do that before the holidays and break for that.
I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic than my counterparts and say late summer to end of fall. And then at the very latest, the beginning of the new year.
Okay. I mean, I've been hoping for summer or late summer, but yeah. I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say, what was it, October 15th? Yeah, that's the date I'm gonna. Just a random number. But no, I've been hoping for a summer, but we'll see.
Quick, Steven, burn the records.
My reasoning for late summer is because this last year was early summer, right? And if it takes them a moment to get transferred over to UE5, but they're able to be a lot more productive in a very short amount of time, then I feel like they'd end up being, back on schedule at the very least with the testing stuff, if not with the art. That's my consideration behind my answer. Either he knows what's up or he threw a dart at his calendar. But yes, Chippy, happy to have you in here again, friend. I'm happy to see a lot of old faces popping up again. I'm glad to get back on your radar. We still live and kicking 115 episodes later.
Ready for more.
Yeah, indeed. Bring it on.
Yeah, we'll see. I'd be happy to see it sooner, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could all be surprised and they announce it next week, which would be amazing.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't argue against it. Just saying.
So next topic. Did you all look at the new NCSoft game Throne and Liberty from the news? I read it looks like it's going to be compared to AOC and is releasing this year. I did not hear about that. I will look into that though.
No.
NCSoft. Didn't they do Arcade?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I never really got into Arcade, so I didn't really follow
Me neither.
who makes that one. If they announce it next week, I'm not going to be making fun of Tech-Tech's hair for the next 5 years. That sounds like you are not exactly confident in that.
Hi, Bashi. Welcome in. It seems like maybe you guys made a bet. All right.
Yeah.
Ion and Guild Wars 2. Right.
Okay. And yeah, Ion's another one I haven't really played.
They made Lineage. Okay. Thank you, Truly. Also, hello. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the tavern.
Now, I know the name's been attached to some other stuff too, as far as MMO stuff goes, but just because I remember the name outside of those associations. Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see what that turns out like. I am officially putting it down in the notes here.
So this is supposed to be like the continuation of the Lineage series.
Ooh. At least this year we should get Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts!
Throne and Liberty. Okay. Well, that might be a serious contender. I'm curious how that's slipped under the radar for so long.
Right? Maybe they've just been super secretly working on it. I don't know.
Well, evidently, Evidently, this was announced a long, long time ago, and it's been repeatedly delayed. So
Oh,
this could be a Doom, not Doom. This could be a Duke Nukem Forever fiasco waiting to happen. We don't know.
Oh, like
That's
12
fair.
years in the making, and people didn't pay attention for the last 7 at all.
oh my gosh. Thank you, Chip. Because it was most of a game was redone 5 times. Oh man,
Oh, okay.
that sounds horrible. I could not imagine being the owner of a thing that had to get redone like so many times.
Yeah, it's got to be kind of heartbreaking. I mean, oh. That was funny. I clicked on the link there that Woodchip put in chat, and the first thing I see actually being loaded onto the page was a BDO ad. Like, well, that looks familiar. That looks. Oh yeah, it's because it's an ad. Never mind.
Bashi,
Well, all
thank
right.
you for giving a PGN a sub. That's really sweet of
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Duke Nukem Forever. Forever isn't part of the title. It's just the production duration.
Went
Nice.
to Jilon. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, was that a random one? Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah, see, even Twitch knows that Jalon has been so kind to us and deserves a little bit of a kickback.
Yeah, it deserves the extra. Deserves the extra.
Because
Alan's an awesome guy, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, one thing that Vertek and I are talking about in Bezos Works in Mysterious Ways. One thing we were talking about between Vertek and I is possibly because I'm kind of not streaming on Chibi Brie anymore, so I think I'm gonna take my Prime off of that and put it on the TGF channel, and that way we can, as TGF, gift our like monthly sub to somebody in the community.
Mhm.
So that way I don't have to be like, this is a gift from the Golden Feather as Chibi Brie. Because if you don't know who I am as a co-host, then it's like random-ish. So
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that'd work out because we could. Yeah, we'll figure all that part out. But yeah, definitely, that's what we're
definitely.
looking to do because it's nice if we're going to have a. Because we're going to have, an Amazon Prime membership for Golden Feather for just anything we buy for the stream. But yeah, to be able to give
we
out
have
that
a lot in the
Prime
works.
to someone would be dandy.
Yeah. But I found you guys back about 1 year ago when I tried to start Twitch. You guys rated my waifu. Good memory. Aw, now I'm tracking you. Well,
Yeah, it
thank
was back-
you, Valshi.
Yeah, it was back when I think everyone was waiting to get on and log on to the alpha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of the time only Fane account was gifting subs in Fane's stream. Oh jeez.
But
Yo, any
because I
Prime-
remember, I think it was Boucher. I think was how you pronounced it, or was it Bushi? I think it was Boucher.
Oh, am I saying Baushi? I'm sorry.
So I think they're.
Take his good memory. I almost got me in trouble too.
Oh no.
Alpha 1 was well worth 500 just for the fun memories.
Okay.
I agree, D2.
Bachi.
I think I'm really excited for A2 to come out and for more people to be able to be a part of that. And then, I just like how it just gets bigger from there. Beta 1, Beta 2, etc.
Indeed.
So,
you
Let's
pasted a
not
link
talk about
for,
how much we spent on Ashes so far. I'm
Yeah,
so in the
let's-
hole.
You and me both. You and me both.
yeah.
All right. I think did you end up putting the link in chat for the?
We hadn't even started that topic, so no.
Okay. Okay, because I guess while we're talking about that type of stuff, we may as well go to the more serious tilt one with the
Okay.
request for financials. So this is something I saw come up, and I was actually kind of surprised that it got brought up really at all with I mean, this is kind of a very private company, right? It's not publicly traded at all. It's actually a guy running it out of his bank account.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what it is. He's dumping his own money, like all of his own money into a fire, basically. But somebody had come
virtually,
around.
yes.
Yeah. A little virtual fire. But then again, we don't know exactly how much money he has, so we can't really say it. A lot of it could very well not be a lot. But, you know, I will assume, because 45 million doesn't just grow on trees. But, yeah, someone actually said that it would be great to have financials of the game and where all the money is being spent and tracking its quarterly expenditures actually put out to the public, since they're going for the transparent process. Personally, I don't think that's necessarily something we really need to have. But what's your idea on that? Like, what do you think they like? How do you think that should go over or would go over?
So,
Sorry, I'm busy giving Reluctant the death stare of like why he dropped a Rickroll.
Oh
no.
that's old. Anyway, yeah, that's a little bit of a tricky thing, because if you make that kind of data public, a lot of people can look at that and completely misinterpret what that money is for, what it's going towards, and you know what the common person thinks is very important as an expense versus what's actually important for a company. You know, the average consumer is not intelligent enough to really get a lot of good data out of a breakdown like that. And I think it's going to cause more problems than it actually is going to solve.
Yeah, and that's kind of the page I'm on, because even with the most recent job that I have, I got to put through quotes for like I got to bid for jobs basically. And just looking at some of the industry accepted costs on some things blew my mind. Like there's, for instance, just one random thing that I could actually talk about is there's an office chair that this client gets for all of their stuff. And it's a pretty universal for a lot of other clients, like the chair that they go for as well. The thing is $2,000 for a chair. It sounds like some like cover up for government spending. Like, yeah, it was totally a $10,000 toilet. Absolutely it was. But yeah, it $2,000 for one chair for one person to sit in.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, just how do you know how much it really costs to get, you know, a data line dropped into a business like that, where they're going to be uploading, downloading, and constantly sending out data, like massive data for artwork. And that's just one example. Like you said, there's a billion other different business reasons for different things.
Yeah. You're just inviting a lot of uncomfortable questions that you don't need to answer.
Yeah, and then they're going to have to hire another person who's going to be the publicist just for the financial realm of things, that they're just going to concentrate purely on talking about the financials and making sure it looks, you know, customer facing ready. And it's a whole other expense that isn't really needed. It would be dandy if they were already putting that stuff together and already planning to put it out, but that's if they were 100% crowdfunded, I could maybe agree with it more, maybe. I don't know. Because then, yeah, sure, it's literally everybody else's money that you're playing with. Maybe then put something out, at least basic. But this is...
I mean, if they were publicly traded, yeah, I might feel that you could make that argument. But they're not. And that's it's a private company. This is Steven's bank account.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I also like how in that thread, somebody was like, where was it? I think it was further down.
Yeah, while you're looking for that, I'll respond to Woodchip. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly why I have the like, because it's not really even the same. But I could be convinced that it would be an okay thing to do if it was 100% crowdfunded. But
yeah,
the only time it's needed is when it is actually publicly traded.
As Talents put out the comment, somebody had thought like 30 million was what Steven had put in, and he actually released a screenshot of a conversation at some point where somebody was saying, Talents was saying 40 million of his own money at the moment. He has said he would need to put in more before the game launches, plus in the millions is raised through the Kickstarter and cosmetics, because somebody had thought that he'd put in 20 mil. And then Steven says, we'll be closer to 45-ish. So that's through conversation in Discord, how much he's already, put it buy everything. Yeah. And that's a lot of money. Like, that blew my mind when I found that out.
And honestly, at that point,
that's a lot of money with no guarantee of return.
Exactly. Like, that's already a lot of money to plan to just lose. Like, it's okay if it flops because this is what I'm putting in. Like, I realize it's not already done. It's expected by the end of it, but that is already planned to have lost, in my opinion.
Yep. Already put it on the table and got the fire started. But yeah, like, by the time somebody spends 45 million of their own money on a game, and I haven't even put in, well, I don't even know what percentage, but let's just say $10,000, because that number came up for toilets a moment ago. I haven't even put in that much to a game. By the time they spend 45 million, I don't care if they had a $100,000 a year ice cream budget. Okay, I mean, it's his money. He's doing something with it. The game's being made. I don't need to know exactly what every dime is going to. I'm okay with that.
Exactly. And I just personally, I don't really want to necessarily know, because that just feels like why do I need to know that? I don't really care. As long as me having faith in the game and backing it is like validated in some manner, that's all I care about. And by validated, I mean the game comes out, period. Because it realistically, looking at like how much the backing packages are and how many hours goes into making a game, the amount that I backed is more than spent by this point from 2017 all the way to now. If you're looking at hourly wage, like $500 to back Alpha 1 with the amount of time that they put into making sure Alpha 1 is working properly and update it and prepping for Alpha 2. Because if you have Alpha 1 package, you get everything that comes after that, right? So spending that money, that's gone before the day is even out.
Yep. And honestly, there's even Reluctant Raven and Zetrex are onto something there too. He's making his dream game.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had the money, why wouldn't you want to make your game actually become a reality? And you'd probably, if you started to dump that kind of money in, you'd want to make sure it at least gets to the end. Whether people like it or not is totally different. But
yeah,
hey, if you got the money to keep paying somebody to keep making your game, all right, I'm almost done with this expansion, guys. Let's chop. Let's get some more going. Yeah. Why would you not?
Yeah, it's honestly just a private server that we have access to at the end of the day. Exactly. It is absolutely a private server.
I dig it.
By the way, sorry about the mid-roll ad. I usually keep a better attention on that, but getting annoyed by Twitch's ads in general.
Yeah.
Being a podcast blocker. But honestly, I'm super excited with the way that everything is. It's karma for the Oracle. Exactly. I'm really happy with how everything's turned out. And also, by the way, Oracle, I unfortunately cannot read what is written on the whiteboard, but I'm gonna guess it says Pyre, looking at like the shape of everything. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool because I like the little Easter egg and hint dropping. For me, his whiteboard is like really tiny because Vertec is streaming it, and then that is also like a little bit degraded from the original quality for me. So by the time I see it again.
Also, the Pyre look fantastic.
Yes, absolutely they do. My little druid heart got so excited as soon as they showed off the Pyre. I just jumped out of my skin, super excited. Also, like, look at the tiny little ears on that big guy. It's adorable.
Yeah.
Feel like
the little
grab it.
tiny things.
Grab his little ear. Team Pyre! Hey, Basil.
And watch him launch you across the house. Or over the house, I
Druid
should
for
say.
life. Yes. Yes, Basil, absolutely. Tolnar is superior race. All others are just food. You were saying?
It's okay, Rave. We will hunt you down.
So actually, that I side note, because I was going through so much today. Somebody was like, "When are they going to show Tolnar? Why are they not showing Tolnar?" And so he was saying they thought closer to like beta 1, and the response to that person was like, "Why beta 1? That's so late. Wouldn't it be like practically ready for release?" And I think that's one of the people that had the misconception of what a beta actually is, thanks to things like BDO doing their beta in America, which is already a pretty much launched game. But
yeah, the time on that's a little obscure, just because they announced Tolnar coming, and I can't remember now. I'd have to go back to the Kickstarter page, but I think that was either slated for beta 1 or beta 2.
Right. And the reasoning for it I thought was really sound, because from what we understand, Tolnar are a combination of different races, right? So you have to build out those races first and know what they look like and be able to do the character generator for those before you can figure out what the Tolnar are supposed to be, because you're then taking pieces of all these different races and putting them together for a Tolnar, from my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could just come up with an imagination version of everything and it would be just fine. But I think the Tolnar were a Kickstarter like additional feature. So
you know what? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look at that. I think you're right though. Let me go check the wiki.
So I think getting all the base stuff in and then adding things quote unquote maybe in order might be why it delayed that out beyond everything else.
So they were a Kickstarter reward. I don't remember the dollar amounts, but it was after passing a certain threshold.
Okay. So here on the Kickstarter, I'll actually link the exact link I have here in front of me, so you guys can see exactly where I'm sourcing my info. These were all the original Kickstarter packages. And then they had the stretch goal. So the parlor games got unlocked immediately. Then there was the cute small pets. Then there's group mounts being unlocked. Backer only weapon skin. Enhanced naval content. Backer only armor skin. The Underrealm was an exclusive that was unlocked. Backer only aquatic mount. Social organizations was another thing that was unlocked. So social progression paths, then Kickstarter exclusive dies, and then finally at 2.5 million there was the new Underrealm race, which I believe is the Tolnar. So that was unlocked at that point, and they went all the way to 3 mil being backed for the new financial systems for the stock exchange. And apparently there's a backer-only skill FX set, which I think is kind of cool. Oh no! Sorry.
I can't post links. I can't post links.
No. Those are, I think, regulars. You have to be in the chat for at least 5 hours. But that's what he was posting. But yeah. I just thought these were really interesting. This is way back when. I think it's kind of cool because I remember looking at all of this, like, what? Oh my gosh, five almost years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Well, yeah, almost 5. Jeepers.
I mean, as of May, I've known you for 5 years. Hey, Nair.
When did this?
Do we know when, if there will be all the other races for Alpha 2? I believe everything but Tolnar is planned for Alpha 2, from my understanding. Hi, Wizzy, welcome in. Reluctant says, Silvire is the best parts of all the other races brought to the forefront. WTS, I think, went to sell elf skin monks, freshly skinned, and ground orc tusk, and pirate back scratchers. All my items are freshly restocked.
Oh, loading.
Daily DM me for details.
I mean, I can tell you where their skin's going to be. It's going to be adorning my mantle.
Oh my gosh.
Right there, that's where.
As a pirate, I feel offended. I think classes will be introduced slowly. Well, they already have, I think they plan to have all base classes, if not also their augments for A2.
That might be part of what's delaying things, because I don't think they ever unbugged the bows.
It's a good question.
So I think those were just steady bugged all the way through Alpha 1. So if they left it sitting there for that long, maybe they just absolutely decided it was not an issue to worry about and shut it down because we couldn't use bows in the Alpha after that. Or they figured it was such a big issue they had to wait until Alpha was done before they could work on it. But no telling how many other big things there were like that. I mean, they're adding a lot of mods to this system.
I don't think they're going to do that, Dante. Actually, that was another topic I saw. Somebody was like, how are they supposed to have an engineer if there's no guns and gunpowder? And somebody was like, if you remember, they had potion launchers. So I just imagine like a little gun with like a tiny little explosion potion. Pew pew.
Oi. I'm just saying, the person who built the first spear was an engineer. You're
not wrong. I mean,
correct.
You gotta understand. Understand the engineering concepts to make an addle.
Right.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is, but I'm gonna just agree and say yes.
It's a spear checker.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, those things, gotcha. Yes. What he said. Okay.
It's like a thing that it's kind of like what we use for our dogs at this point, where you put the ball in and you whisk the ball, make the ball go fly. It's kind of the same concept.
Yeah, same exact concept, but with a spear.
With a spear. All right.
Would be sad, not funny, right? I agree. I mean that wheel though.
Steven, new weapon idea: addles.
Do it. Do it. I mean, Renkai would dominate with those, I'm pretty sure.
TV, that ball dog flingy thingamabob.
I see you've been studying. That you got the name flawlessly.
I see which one you're going after next. Are you sure you want to tackle that one?
I don't know, because we just talked about that one last week.
Oh, did we?
It may be overkill for people.
That's fair.
It may be overkill.
Or we could go down to the forums and maybe this one.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
That works.
No PUBG frying pan. Do you think we'll get the character creator on the 25th since we didn't get it last month? I don't know if we'll necessarily get it on the 25th, but I think maybe on the 25th we might find out more information on when they think we might get it.
You know, that might actually be a thing, because I know it was, did they mention that they were thinking about showing it last month or something, but it wasn't quite ready?
I think he had to push
so they've
it
had
back
another
like
month.
a month or two. Yeah. I just couldn't remember if it was multiple months or just 1 month, so... Mom, she kicked me in the frying pan again. Okay, So the link I sent you guys is somebody's kind of theory craft, and you can probably see my response there on dealing with zone of influence, buffing and debuffing, and PvE players trying to stay away from engaging in PvP, because a lot of us don't really like PvP. We just want to be able to go gather our collectibles and do our potion makings and go raiding without worrying about being killed necessarily. So what Veton D63 was recommending was that sorry, I got distracted by chat for a second. Was that as you're inside of your own zone of influence, you would essentially get like a buff that would help with your I guess your attacks or whatever. But if you're outside of your zone of influence, like your home, like if you have a node citizenship in town A or node A, and you went all the way across the map to like node W, I don't know, then you'd be out of your zone of influence. And so attacking anybody in their own zone of influence, you would be going against their buffs and things like that. So that's just the basis of what this person's thought process was. Just want to, I guess hear your guys' thoughts on it.
So part of the problem with the basic premise of that is when you get to the metro stage, your zone of influence covers 1/6 of the entire world map.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very large area where you're going to be granting somebody a damage buff, which would play havoc on the PvP, especially when you're a large part of the game is controlling trade routes and specifically trying to shut down caravans and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could see that.
There's that, and honestly, it seems like they were trying to... I mean, I could just sum it up. Diggs basically has the idea exactly what I'm thinking, saying that I think for now we just need to test the current corruption system design before trying to figure out how to fix something that isn't broken. Because the original idea says that, on top of the corruption system, how about we buff people in their own ZOI to... combat people who are afraid of dying all the time because they're not PvP people. But it kind of goes against some of the core tenets of the game, which is the PvP needs to occur in order to make things change. Mm-hmm. And make things change can mean a variety of things. Like, hey, I don't feel safe in my metropolis because nobody here actually fights anybody except for, me. Everybody fights me, and that's it. So I'm dipping out to another metropolis. I'm going to go to a military node, become a citizen over there. At least there'll be a whole lot of people who like fighting. They can protect me. Or, whatever the case may be. Like, I'm out gathering all the time, but I always get killed on the way back to town. Okay, so I'm going to move to a scientific node. So I can find a local node and, fast travel back to the main node to drop my stuff off. Whatever the case may be. Yeah. Going to cause people to want to make a change and then enact that change for something to occur more in their favor, and the system, the entire node system is going to build itself up based on that.
Yeah. And before I get to my response, Asha says, didn't Steven say something about the environmental buffs being passive only? Possibly. Don't think they're going to affect straight up damage of skills and such. I don't know for sure, but I think this is more just somebody's thought, not necessarily like what they think we should implement, but like, what do you think of this general idea that I had? Excuse me. Somebody online on the forums known as Unknown System Error says PvP, they posted a picture screen capping what Steven said. PvP is the catalyst we use for change to occur in the world. While I appreciate the desire for some players not wanting to participate in that mechanic, I'd be lying if I told you that you could completely avoid it. Is it possible to play and avoid PvP? Absolutely. You can focus on PvE, crafting, gathering, city building, farming, animal husbandry, home building, raiding, etc. I want Ashes to be an astounding environment for our players to explore and interact with, to challenge you. And to add my own personal thoughts on that, while I am generally not a person that enjoys PvP, I do think it is definitely important. It adds that risk versus reward factor, right? I'm scared, you're laughing, and I'm talking. Weird thought. Do you guys think you can make Dante? If bone, sure, but why stop at antler? Oh, wow. Going back to what I was saying. Truly, hi. Truly says, I just think the corruption system needs to be very heavy when killing non-combatants. I agree with that. And that's the other part I was going to put out is, while there are risks to running around in the world, there's risk to going to like the other side of this country. You can end up in an accident. Somebody could rob you. Like talking about real life things, right? So there's a lot of risks of traveling such a long distance. You're not in your safe bubble of being home, but you're never truly safe at home either. At any point, someone could choose to try to break into your house, right? So the reality is, are we having daily problems where people are constantly breaking into everybody's house? No. Not really. Like every day I don't come home being worried that somebody's broken into my house unless I didn't lock the door. Then I'd be worried. But I feel like the same would apply to PvP. And with having the corruption system in place, it helps to make sure somebody just doesn't go up and just zonk out somebody who's not trying to fight back. So because of that, I feel more comfortable with playing Ashes. I'm not a PvP person. I'm totally a PvE person. I like crafting, I like gathering, I like raiding. Those are my things. But I don't know. I'm interested in seeing what Ashes has to do with PvP. And Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky, I hear the Sword of 1,000 Truths is already in the game.
Sword of 1,000 Truths.
But...
It's in there. It's in there, right along the Sandalord altar.
Right. While I think that this person's idea is an interesting and unique one, I think I would like to see how the corruption turns out first. But it's an interesting idea to at least think about, is my perspective. Like, what would happen if? What ifs? Kind of thing.
I mean, that's fair. And if we determine that the corruption system is not sufficient, I mean, certainly look into alternative options. I don't know if that idea as it stands, because it's too overreaching. You're talking about massive swaths of the map at that point.
Exactly.
Zone of influence is not small.
Yeah, because it's different if you're talking about a smaller node. Its zone of influence is going to be very small. But you can't really go by the zone of influence of a metropolis. That would just be massive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm right there with Diggs. I saw his reply and I said I don't even need to reply to this myself, because that's exactly it. Like, let's wait and see what corruption has to offer first. If that can be tuned right, I guarantee you I'm going to be the gatherer. Then when somebody starts attacking me, I'm just going to keep gathering. That's it. Not going to try and run, not going to try and hide, not going to fight back. I'm just going to keep gathering. Because obviously they're not in their gathering gear, so they're not going to mine the thing right after me just to keep continuing along with the path. But I'm going to grab what I can. They'll get a percentage of it. Whatever that percentage is, they'll get it. But they're also going to get that corruption.
Yeah, and if they keep doing that, they're going to get bounty hunted. Da, da, da.
Yep. Exactly, because I plan to have a bounty hunting character, so I want to make friends with other bounty hunting people so that we can all go out and hunt bounties and track down all the colorful dots on the map.
Indeed.
And I'll just be off on my corner braiding horses.
But yeah,
I'll
call me bait.
Trade potions for horses if that's okay.
You know what? I might even just, you know what? I might be one of those people with a silly name, and that's going to be my character's name, the one that does all the gathering and crafting. His name's going to be Bait. That's it. Just Bait.
Bait.
Bait McBait.
I like it.
Just
The
don't
only
make him a
people-
master of anything.
Playing connected dots as a bounty
Right.
hunter tech deck. Nice. Wicca Sloth, welcome in. First time chatter, hopefully long time viewer. Welcome in. Looking forward to opening a forge on my freehold and getting hired to craft armor for people. I will absolutely
Ooh.
be coming to you to craft my armor because I'm playing a cleric and we apparently need heavy armor in this game. And I do potions, not armor smithing. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be coming to you for help.
Well, there you go. Just park yourself next to the Golden Feather Tavern when you hit game time, and you'll always have at least 2 people coming back ready to be repaired and buy new stuff.
He's usually tank, I'm usually heals, so
Yeah, I will be a frequent flyer. Just saying. Just build in a discount program for me for armor repairs, because, you know, all day, every day. Repair.
yeah, right. But we're actually planning on actually having the Golden Feather Tavern as a thing, and
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a
It'd be
chain.
really fun.
If you want it franchised, let us know. We got franchise packages. We actually don't, but, you know, someday maybe.
have any of you considered playing 2 accounts legally? Of course, just switching around. Possibly. I plan to master a profession and be the person everyone comes to for that rare weapon. Nice, Oracle. My dinero will be available for all your crafting needs. I appreciate that, Wicca.
I mean,
Or whatever profession it might be.
2 accounts? I'm not sure why I would do 2 accounts. Multiple characters, but 2 accounts? I'm not sure why.
Sometimes for DPS especially, it's handy to have like a tank character that you can run around with, because you're, you know, glass cannon and doing... In theory, you should be able to wipe out anything before it attacks you, but at the same time, there's also, with a pure PvP game, there's some safety and security if you have your PvP built, designed, and geared player sitting on a second account nearby while you're gathering or just doing silly quests, and if somebody comes around to try to kill you as an easy mark, then you have your second character sitting right there, ready to beat them down and get your stuff back should you die as the smaller character.
I don't think I have the attention span for that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of bringing up, like, there's definitely some valid reasons to have 2 accounts. I personally haven't really done that, especially on a sub-based game, because that gets expensive. You're paying for twice the account.
That was what you were asking about a central server. That's a great question. We are located East Coast US in terms of ping. That'd be the closest one for us. But what do you think?
It'd probably be Eastern or maybe Central. But yeah, it depends on paying and where everybody else is, because we're also going to be at least making characters in whatever server our guild is going to be in, and then we can maybe branch out from there as well if we're making extra characters.
Yeah. Obviously, sorry, okay, Ashes, the game is probably gonna end up for 1 account. That's what I thought. I was like, 2 accounts, not even gonna bother. I'm Eastern too, heard some might go Central. Okay. Wiccasoft, obviously need much more testing, but I'm excited to test out all the tank variations. Yes, absolutely. Can't wait for Alpha 2 to begin. I also played in Alpha 1. Oh, nice! Yeah, we played a little bit in Alpha 1. Unfortunately, the play times love to be during our work hours.
They do.
And thank you for the follow, by the way. Welcome in.
But yeah, we'll get along just fine there, Wicca, because that's exactly what I'm doing. That's one of the first things I plan on trying to get completion in, is at least trying all the different tank variations.
And I'm doing the same thing with heals, so if you ever need a healer, I'm your gal.
And she's going to tell me all the differences for the healers, and I'm going to pick my favorite out of it, and I'll have that healer as a secondary character.
To that effect, I hope that they still plan on including the ability to swap archetypes.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
nice. That way I don't have to have 10 different characters, get them all to the level individually to playtest the archetype, because it would just at the very least for testing purposes. I understand later in the game, because it's an alpha, I understand later in the game putting in a monetary cost, but at least for alpha, let me just swap please for free, so I don't have to go through and level 10 different characters.
Like I absolutely do understand your base class you shouldn't be able to change, but the secondary class, like, let me change it, because I have no idea at level 20 if I want to permanently be a mage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the argument I have as well, is, it's going to take you some time to get up to the point where you can add a secondary, and once you do add a secondary, how long is it going to take you before you decide you like it? Then you, of course, have to go up to max level, because, all your skills aren't going to unlock until then, right? So you never know if your everything package is going to be what you want.
Hi, Golden.
And it's slightly different if it's just a single class, because you kind of know what to expect from a thief class or a warrior class. You kind of get the general idea, but what the heck is a warrior summoner really going to be by the time it's all built up and you've gotten all the skills from both archetypes and all the adjustments and all the everything together? What's that really going to be like? Can you predict that? No. Not at all.
Oh, actually, let's see.
Well,
catching up on chat. Sorry, go ahead, Laya.
So I see that some people are saying that they think it was confirmed. I don't know if it was ever 100% confirmed. I thought it was still being discussed.
I have that. That's what I was going to say. I'm actually on. I just shared the link for the classes. I was going to actually catch up on chat first and then go back to that. But I'll just address this first and then go back to chat. On the third dot, it says a player may choose a secondary archetype when they reach level 25. So you'd have to reach level 25 on 10 different characters if you couldn't just change it. But the combination of primary and secondary types are referred to as the class. And the secondary archetype does not provide additional skills, but rather augments the primary skills. And secondary archetypes may be changed, but not on the fly. So that is all from the wiki, and they reference everything there. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the last time they mentioned that was the current thought of direction, but it wasn't solid. It was I think Steven's response was something to the effect of, I could be okay with that. And then the next time he was asked that, it was, that's the direction we're planning on, but we'll see. It's going to require some testing, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Without clicking on all the links and everything that they put in there to follow to the exact statement, I think it's only just been that's the direction we're planning on, not really this is going to happen that way.
Right. To catch up on chat, Oracle says, I'm planning to put a small group of players to test out all professions and classes to decide what we want to play as. Wicca says, happy to be here. I'm also interested in seeing other classes with this tank as the second choice to compare them. So archetype, secondary archetype being tank. So primary archetype tank, secondary archetype tank, and comparing the two. Golid says, imagine not planning to spend 1,600 hours in Alpha 2 leveling all 8 archetypes. Wicca says, cleric and tank paladin sounds like my cup of tea. Very nice. Argent will be the best. That one's geared towards Vertec. And then, Dante saying you can change your secondary. Zetric saying you'll be able to change your secondary. And then that it was confirmed. You have time in A2 since we should have access up to the 35th-ish level. Yeah, definitely. But my problem more so wasn't not having time to test out a secondary. It was more so I don't want 8 different characters in order to try out all the different secondaries. Because I just, as a full-time worker and part-time streamer on my own channels, don't have the time to sit here and level 8 different characters to 25. I will be lucky to get 1 to 25 and beyond that and actively be playing with it. She wasn't supposed to be leaked yet. Secondary archetypes may be changed but on the fly. Yeah, so Wicca's saying the same thing I did. What part or parts of Ashes do you think people will be unprepared for? Asks Oracle of the White. Yes, GNOP 15. That is what Stephen had mentioned. By the way, for those of you that don't see, GNOP asked if non-primary tank class can fill the tank role. The idea is that tank secondary can still be a viable tank, and that's something that everybody is interested in testing in the coming alpha.
Actually, never in raids, even just not as maybe a primary tank. Like,
yeah,
not as,
more
they
like
can
an
totally be
off-tank.
an off tank, yeah. And I only remember this because that was something I asked a couple times, and it finally got answered. And everybody was calling me silly and crazy for it the entire time. They were like, no, it doesn't, because it doesn't actually add skills. It just augments things. So someone's secondary tank won't be able to tag. That's just silly. But I asked it enough times, and finally it got answered. And I've remembered that answer to this day. Both Jeff and Steven both said yes. You can tank. Yeah. You're not going to be anywhere near as good as a tank primary, so you may not want to take the big stuff, but you will be able to tank.
It's still viable
a secondary
as
tank.
a tank. Yeah. So.
Because I was thinking about doing a bard tank at that point.
What mage tank's going to come across as?
Right?
Yeah. It's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, that statement right there is the one thing that makes me really wonder when people say there aren't really 64 individual classes. Well, if you think about it, if somebody with a tank is secondary can be an off tank, that very much does create 16 different tanks, right? So why wouldn't there be 64 different classes created with the combinations of the other 8 classes 8 times? I think there's a lot of assumptions going on.
Yeah. I'm still on the classes page. There's a line here that says primary skills in Alpha 2 are expected to be very different to those in Alpha 1. So it sounds like they're planning to really flesh out. And from Steven, the ability list in Alpha 1 is nowhere near what the ability list will be, especially from every level, or from like a level or progression standpoint. So you can expect to be incredibly different.
Yeah, but that's the part, to answer directly Oracle the White, that's the part that I think personally that's what people are not going to be prepared for, is how different the 64 classes are going to be. It doesn't sound that way when you just say, hey, it's going to be 8 different archetypes mixed with the same archetypes. So it doesn't sound like they're going to be very different, but I think they're going to be different enough without being an entirely different, oh my gosh, this is 64, like the difference between a fighter and a mage. It's not going to be that different between all 64, but I think the 8 different fighter classes are going to be distinct enough from each other that it's going to be surprising to some.
Yeah, and definitely, because I do know that there's a lot of people I don't understand why they say there's 64 classes. There's only 8 archetypes with like the 8 like attachments to them, and I just think the playstyles are going to be very different. Kind of like how, sure, there's the healer class, but you can be, in World of Warcraft at least, you can be holy priest, you can be shadow priest, right? Then there's the other, and that's just the priest one. There's the druids as well and everything else. And then within Final Fantasy 14, you have your sage, you've got your scholar, your astrologian, and your white mage. Like, those are all very different play styles. While sage is close to scholar, it's still very different in terms of how they are played. So yeah, shaman looks interesting to me as well.
And yeah, Wicca Sloth, that Bard tank and Mage tank are specifically why I kept asking that question over and over until they answered it. But I think the misconception that they're not going to be very different keeps going back to Steven's statement where he says that when you add a secondary archetype, it's not going to add any new skills. It's going to augment what you have. But if you take the very typical thing that they always go back to, the mage tank or the tank mage, or the fighter mage, whatever the example was, where it charges versus blinking. Running at a cliff, you're going to fall down a cliff. You blink across a chasm, you're going to end up on the other side. How is that not a dramatically different thing. It's just an augment. It's the same skill. You're dashing to somebody and applying a shoulder to their face. But you know, if you had that mage thing, it's going to you're doing an actual mage thing, but you're a fighter with a sword, so that's actually drastically different from the base fighter. So apply that to every other class and all the other potential augments. And I think the combination is creating a new skill. It's not adding a new base skill, though.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking Bard primary with Tank secondary would be like angrily plays heavy metal while staring directly into the enemy's eye.
Heck yeah.
Threateningly playing at them.
Briefly become Tenacious D.
Yes. But sorry, Lat, you were saying something there?
I think part of the problem with any analytical conversation about this is that we just don't know exactly how much augments are going to affect things right now.
Yeah, we're kind of grasping at straws and theory crafting slightly, but
yeah, and that's kind of why I was putting my disclaimer out. Like, I could be totally wrong too, but in my opinion, I think that's going to be the one thing that's going to shock a lot of people, and they're not going to be ready for.
Someone needs to make that character art now. Yeah.
Master Explorer.
But I think also this whole unknown thing.
It is very fun to speculate. Don't get me wrong. But I think a lot of people get overworked up about the speculations.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. But my input on like Vertex response to Oracle was that I think the unknown is what keeps a lot of the excitement going at the moment, because we don't know how it's going to turn out, and that's exciting because we are excitedly waiting to try it out, you know.
Oh sure, most certainly.
The thing that I think is going to really catch people by surprise is just how the classes are actually going to be when it comes to professions. I think they're going to be unprepared for that, given most of the ones you have are the typical, like, I can go grab some different herbs from places and then also create potions. It's either a master of none, jack of all trades type of thing, or a master of one thing specifically, I believe. And if you want to master into something, you have to put all of your points into that, instead of like Final Fantasy, where you can just change which class you're doing and then keep mastering into it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be something that they're hearing, but they're not going to realize until they actually like are physically playing it. And they're like, oh wait, if I want to get there, I have to rethink everything else that I've done.
Yeah. I mean, if this game proves to be as big as I don't want to necessarily say promised, but as big as Steven is naturally hoping for, I feel like people are going to run into the same situation that they get into a FromSoft game, where they first walk into the Elden Ring and they're just like, where do I go? What do I do? I have too many options.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, like you said, I know everybody gets, including myself, gets kind of passionate with some of the speculation and gets real deep into stuff. But I mean, that's a key part of what we're doing right now, is just we're speculating. We're speculating and hoping.
There's not a whole lot more to do on it until we get more info, though. But it's still fun. People aren't going to be ready to rely on other players, specifically because they can't master everything on their own. Yeah, exactly. I feel like even with the info we have already, have only scratched the tip. Yeah, exactly. Just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more.
Just the tip.
There's lore that gets dropped every year. So for those of you that are new to Ashes, please, not only is it my birthday weekend, but it is the Ashes Streamathon for charity, where they do a 24-hour live stream. And if you reach a certain level of their donation goal, they release lore. And that is our favorite time of the year, is the lore release for the children. I say for the children because you're donating for the hospital for the children. But can you believe it's already been almost 2 hours?
Jeepers.
Yeah, it's been an hour and 45. Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot that we have left to talk about. But first off, Laya, do you still have time, or are you needing to leave soon?
No, I'm good.
Okay. The stream starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 4-hour stream. Let's go. I feel like even with all that, yeah, I read that one. Laura's been so good. I agree, Wicca. The only news thing that I have that we found at all was that they supplied the QA forum or the QA thread for the forum posts. So if you guys want to go add your question, there you go. And that's about it for the news. Just wanted to touch on it because it was something small. But speaking of just touching the tip of the iceberg, what do you guys think about tutorials and everything?
Oh, the charity live stream.
Oh, it's around November 4th. It's usually like the first weekend of November, right after Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And my birthday is November 4th, so I remember it all the time. But yeah, my guess is it's gonna be the 4th, 5th, and 5th, maybe, or the 5th and 6th. I can't remember if it's the Friday to Saturday or Saturday to Sunday. I want to say Saturday to Sunday.
Yeah, it's usually a Saturday to Sunday. Yeah, that way they have a full day to recover after the fact.
Yeah.
And they're not coming right off of a day of work.
Tutorial seems to all right at studio Intrepid Studios. I don't mind tutorial if they aren't forced on you. Exactly. Okay. What do you guys think? I already have my ideas.
Yeah, you first.
So I think it's a good idea to have one, but like people have said, I don't think it's a good idea to force everybody to go through it. I think I would lose my mind if I had to go through the tutorial 4 times if I decided to make 4 characters. But I loved all the educational things that Final Fantasy XIV added to the game. I thought its ability to do like test runs of dungeons, like doing whether or not you could to teach you how to do specific mechanics. What was that called? That system? They're like small little dungeons. I'm sure you've run them.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, not Faith, Guildhests or something.
Yes, the Guildhests. If they include something like that, I mean, I'm sure that'll cover it.
Yeah. I mean, my idea that I thought would be great is there really should be a tutorial at the beginning of the game for a couple different reasons. I mean, and I forget everything I listed before, but I did definitely check off a list because it was something we were going in depth on. But either way, it should definitely have a tutorial at the beginning of the game, because they're going to have to explain how you, coming from a world, dimension, plane, whatever, because they haven't really defined it, whatever Sanctus was, to Vera, a place with no magic, comes to a place rife with magic, and it's everywhere, literally like growing out of the creatures in the ground. And you just automatically know how to shoot a fireball at level 1 after stepping through a gate. You just, yeah, that's what I do. I throw fireballs. Like, I'm a mage. It's the thing. Okay, well, how did you make that happen? I don't know. It just did. Now that's my profession. That's what I do for a living. Been doing it all my life on Vera. So 10 minutes. Yep, 10 minutes. But
my thought process. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done. My bad.
Oh, no worries. But yeah, I thought that would be a great way to introduce a couple different things, though, because I know the few that I remember is one, explaining how to use magic, so it gets around the explanation of how you know how to use it as soon as you land. For 2, if they were to give you access to unlock a fully leveled that class, so you can try that. And then for 3, even in that same tutorial at the very beginning, allow you to choose the mix and match between a couple different classes and have a minor tutorial there. Like, give you the option to do it at that point. That way it'll also help relieve the, hey, I didn't know this was going to turn out like this and that. Now I have to do a 12-hour quest just to change my secondary archetype. Brr to brr to brr. Well, did you do the tutorial at the beginning? Because it totally lets you try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a pin in that because I have a whole other idea based off of that. But what were you going to say, Liat?
No, I agreed on that one point. It's like, from a lore perspective, if I start off as a mage, I just stepped out of this portal. Why am I holding a magic wand? How do I know how to use it? How do I know what magic is? And how do I know that I can now cast Fireball?
And I do like what some of the people in this thread have explained, where they were thinking it should be like some nice kind of like cinematic dungeon-y type of thing, kind of like the guild house that you were mentioning. So like pointing to what both of you are saying. But my idea was you step through like the portal, and you know how at the beginning of Guild Wars, or a lot of games even for that matter, there's the whole intro cinematic of you being introduced to the world, right? So in that intro cinematic, it would be talking about like how after eons of progressing in your knowledge, etc., the gates to Vera reopened for some reason. I don't know what the lore is exactly behind it, but as you step through, the ancient knowledge of being able to use magic comes back to you, and they have like that explanation of how you become able to know magic. But then my thought process was perhaps there's like a NPC or somebody who you can interact with, and there could be a choice to select between an old soul, aka somebody who's played before in terms of like any MMORPG and doesn't need the hand-holdingness of like, this is my first MMORPG, because there's a lot of things that us gamers take for granted that a kid who's probably playing Ashes of Creation for the very first time as an MMO for the very first MMO would probably not realize. Like, well, what is this and what is that? You know, things that we know that are very constant across a lot of games and a lot of MMOs.
What's
so
DPS? You're talking about it like a 13-year-old. What's DPS?
Oh, yeah. So I thought it would be cool to choose between like an old soul versus a newcomer. And then from there, it would give you more like specific Ashes, specific things like their specific way of crafting or other unique things that are specific to Ashes, like the archetype thing. But what Vertex said, wouldn't it be cool if when you reached level 25, you got to choose a secondary archetype, and it would just do not maybe like a recommended build, but a build in general that lets you choose, like, if I wanted to do primary cleric, secondary mage, and be an oracle, I would immediately be able to maybe have like some sort of story behind what an oracle was, and you can play a maybe historical figure as an oracle with all of the abilities that are augmented, just to get a feel for it and be like, is this the class that you is this the path you choose to go down, or something like that. I feel like that would be useful. Just because, yeah, if you invest points and stuff into it and you invest time, you want to make sure that that's not being wasted, I guess, in the end.
So sorry, slight tangent.
All good.
I love the idea of anything that will allow us to go back in time and experience parts of the downfall of Vera in any context. So I do like that idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't wait to get more of my hands on lore stuff to do with that. LOL, sorry. What are you sorry about? So, mages on Sanctus are larpers. They practiced in the forest of Sanctus shouting, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. Oh my gosh. Throwing folded piece of papers at the enemy. Excuse me, those are sandbags. Thank you very much.
Lissai.
Lissai. Something like a training room that let us test out different classes. Yeah, exactly. I think Intrepid, if you are listening, I think this is a good idea, and I might possibly go onto the forums later and make a post about that as a potential thing to see what other people are liking it. So I am trying to get more involved with the forums, by the way. I'm still scared of Reddit, so I'm staying off of there for the meantime. But I will lurk and I will upvote and I will happily look at your conversations there. But I'm still scared of it. Reddit's scary. Yeah, that's how I feel.
It is.
But yeah, I think absolutely, all in all, should be something that you can skip if you want to. I'm totally, as I put my response in there, I totally don't click through the tutorial and then realize I probably should have read something later, because who was it? It was Oracle said. I should remember your name because I like Oracle. So as Oracle mentioned, don't click through the tutorial and then ask the dumb questions that are laid out in the tutorial. You know, I think there should be like a button that had all the information the tutorial would have given you that you can go back through and look at. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. So much, such hate, many wows. But yeah, I think having the ability to skip it would be really, really cool. And I see what you're going after, so go for it.
No, I just had something highlighted. No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I may have just had something highlighted.
I will do that then. Well, as we are winding closer and closer to 9 o'clock, shall we just head on over to the fan focus?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and start changing gears.
Alrighty. Well, for those of you that love lore and love RPing, Supreme. Well, actually, I'll get back to that one. Who was it? Lethanol. There it is. Lethanol made an AOC prologue. Beard cam, please. Okay, they're always requesting your beard cam. Lethanol made an AOC prologue based off of it's a short story placed in AOC universe. It was refreshed and reposted, and the text was translated to English and then corrected by him. So there may be some typos, but enjoy the reading. And it's kind of like I don't know, it's kind of nice. You should read through it. I don't want to ruin anything, your experience. But it's really nice.
There's also, JK. By the way, an update to the other story that's been continuing there.
Grand Thor?
Yeah, Grand Thor's story that's been going. There was an update on the 28th, I believe. No, there was one after that. Let's see if I can dig it up here.
I felt like I just saw his. But while he's digging that up, just a quick art thing. Supreme Phoenix, who we saw previously, did the portal into Vera, the different portals that look realistic, like you could actually put it on your desk. He has since created some new pieces that he likes to call Ashes of Ashes. It's spelled ASHCHES of Creation Phoenix, and it's basically like this phoenix, their emblem, in the middle of two kind of like cherry blossom trees bent around to be like a halo around it. And I really, really like the way it looks. Towards the bottom, he has it in the globe. So
there we go.
I thought that was cool.
Okay, so there's the Tales from Vera from Grand Thor. there was an update on the 6th last, and I don't think we got to mention it last week. I think we ended up running out of time and like quickly shut down because we were just speeding right through everything as far as like the minutes of the day go.
Yeah, that's fair. Mato Kamas, somebody that we were considering reaching out to, we have reached out to before about making us Tavern themed music. And he has since posted Valoon inspired music on his little thread. And these are his Spotify and YouTube pages. But on his Spotify, he has a Pyre one, which I am absolutely loving. So if you guys like Pyre, go tell him how much you like his Pyre one. Or his Valoon. He's got a few. They're all like race inspired. So.
And here you go. Here's
waiting for Beck though.
Yeah, right? Bring it on, folks. But yeah, here's the images she was just talking about. From Supreme Phoenix. I know during our last stream, we were looking at these little gateways. Mm-hmm. Because they were really stinking awesome.
And these... These look realistic, don't they?
Yeah, and this is in a digital program, but they really look like they were made out of clay. Yeah, Blender. But they really look like they were made out of clay and could sit right on your desk.
Yeah.
But then there's these, which are just like the little erupting volcano. There's another one with an erupting volcano. And this looks like a cake topper with a little wedding cake on the bottom. But then these start to look like actual little glass globes, like snow globes.
Mm-hmm. Phoenix globes.
Phoenix globes.
But
I think they're super dandy.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing something like that coming to fruition. It'd be nice to have like some Ashes of Creation related things to put on my desk.
Absolutely.
And as we like having content creators on here, mainly because they're the ones that are brave enough to join us, we found somebody who's made their first video. I kind of liked it. Oracle says, part of me wants a bard so I can perform at taverns while traveling. Well, you know what, Oracle? You would be welcome at our tavern anytime.
Do it. Do it.
But he made his first video back on the February 21st, I believe it was, when this was posted. I liked it. Did you get a chance to watch it? Either of you?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Did you get a chance to watch that one, Liat?
Unfortunately, no, due to the last minute joining.
That's all good.
Yeah, figured as much. But yeah, I got to check it out. It's pretty cool. Got I mean, it's for those people who are watching us, you've probably been around, most of you anyway, long enough that a lot of the information isn't going to be new, but it is a new perspective on some stuff, and it's entertaining. More importantly, I think it's not just the average, fairly low effort that you see some people where they just go through and they go, hey, this is Ashes, and here's what I found on a wiki, and there's the data. So if you guys want to like and subscribe, okay, bye. It's a little bit more high effort.
Memes,
there's some editing.
It's full of memes.
Yeah, it's full of memes. There's more entertainment factor to it. So if nothing else, it might be someone to maybe bookmark, subscribe to, and check out for the future.
Yeah, definitely. But aside from that, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, Liat?
No, I think
aside from the one thing we've talked about today.
Yeah.
we haven't talked about much. I mean, we didn't really cover many topics, so.
No, not at all. Honestly, not really. Other than, I mean, I don't know if you guys discussed this on your last podcast. All the stuff that they brought up about the breeding system, because I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, I think the last few of our guests have absolutely loved talking about the breeding system. I think Golid, last week at least, wanted to go really in deep with it, and we're excited to learn more. I think, see what else comes up.
Yeah, Golid wrote a there we are. Golid wrote basically a dissertation on the forums about the breeding system, Went into super depth on it.
Yep.
So I see I have competition to be Vera's #1 breeder.
Ooh.
Hey, you might be on separate servers, so you might be #1 breeder on your own server, but you guys could be competing cross server.
This
This is
node
true,
ain't big
and-
enough for the two of us.
And Steven did imply that you might have to specialize in certain types of mounts. So I might
So
be
there
the
you
best
go.
glider, and he might be the best water mount person.
Welcome
Yeah,
back,
could
Oracle.
be,
Sorry
could be.
about the ad.
Also going to be some regional stuff, so could trade regional mounts. Like, hey, I got this one all set. I'll be taming, but I'll be charging like double for animals. Hey,
Rude.
oh my gosh. Hey, turnabout is fair play. Let's establish some prices. You want to buy from me? It's going to cost you this much. But I guess I'll
There
be
you
paying
go.
the same back from you.
Well, fine. He can tame them, but after I perfect them, he has to pay double.
Oh, hey, there you go. There you go.
And here we are, folks, with our first friendly competition.
See, now you both have to be on the same server just so I can see this play out.
Yep, absolutely.
It's not even a suggestion. I
Alright.
think everybody here would require it. They would say it is definitely, it's a demand now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you have to do it just for the entertainment factor, right? So,
It's going to be a weekly soap released on YouTube. It's going to be called All Our Rides. Talking about all the different breeds of mounts out there. Or Days of Our Rides? Yeah, Days of Our Rides.
Days of
Do
Our
that one.
Rides. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll host a weekly thing where I cover this week's updates on Liat versus Golid.
I could just see that going over something like, what was it, the Tiger King? Well, I see.
Nodes of Our Lives.
That one over
I
there is
love it.
crazy. Yeah,
I
nodes
think
of
it will be
Our
fun for
Lives.
bards to find teachers for specific songs, but your secondary will determine how it sounds. Oh, that would be interesting. I like these.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
As we said, Bard Fighter is definitely like heavy metal.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Mad Maxian while staring down your enemy.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Got some Cradle of Filth action here.
Right?
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
But now that we're
But,
way
but
off
if you're
topic.
a Bard cleric, you just bust out the pipe organ.
Oh wait, no, I think that would be the person
Summoner,
who
maybe?
maybe summoner, but I was thinking like the undead summoner.
Mhm.
Necro.
Oh, necromancer. Yeah, that's summoner cleric, isn't it? I don't remember.
I believe so. Yeah.
Let's see.
Maybe. Yeah, because actually, that's another conversation I came across where like people were arguing about how that was gonna play out in terms of archetype skill augment, where being a summoner cleric allowing you to summon undead instead of regular summons or something like that. And that was just an interesting, like, I think I got distracted just following that thread, wondering where the conversation was going. And then I realized they were just like, neither of them were gonna like agree to disagree. They just kept going on like back and forth, and I lost interest. But initially it was very interesting. It was like the whole like, how would necromancer be different from any other type of summoner with an archetype or a secondary archetype of summoner kind of thing? Like,
Well,
how would that
I know
change?
Steven has said that the different archetypes are going to have access to slightly different summons
Mm-hmm.
and different amounts of summons. So, like a necromancer might be able to summon like a small army of like 6 different creatures, like 2 warrior skeletons, a mage skeleton, and so on. Whereas like a what is it called? The Brood Warden would only be able to summon like a big golem or something like that, and that's his only summon. Stuff like that.
Imagine if there was an engineer class, what a summoner engineer would be. Like, would that be an artificer?
That would probably be an artificer.
That'd be awesome. Imagine agreeing with somebody on the forums. Couldn't be me. Oh yeah, no, I saw some of the conversations you were included in, and disagreements happening.
A couple of them.
Yeah. But expansion classes in Ash is gonna be hard to do though. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We're gonna add one new archetype. Oh lordy.
Yeah. One new archetype would be...
I figured they'd probably come in pairs at the very least, like so 2 or 4 classes at once per expansion. Oh lord, 16 new.
17.
No.
Yeah, it'd be like 17 new classes right there.
Yeah, it would be a lot.
It would be bananas. So every like 5 years we might get a new archetype?
Expansion. Right. Different expansions throughout the world, but then finally like a new class.
Yeah.
Or couple. Jeez.
It does make me wonder what stuff like a monk mage would be, or like a druid fighter.
Yeah, no, definitely. Super excited to see what's in store.
I cast
Ready for this
fist.
game, people, right? Grumpy? Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so there's... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that I think if they were to try to regularly release new archetypes, they would probably have to have a small team on that at all times. That's all they're doing, is creating a new class. Or a new archetype. That's your job. 40 hours a week, all 6 of you, that your only job is to create a new archetype. You have 2 years, or you have 4 years to do it. Go.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a fun job. It would need to be some alternative row system. Yeah. Yeah, I could see something like that. I was just gonna say, I've got my eye out on 2 people. We could raid Iron Smithy, who's playing Grand Theft Auto 5, or we could raid Beck Altar, which we haven't raided in a while. He's playing Valheim, which might give some people an idea of what that other game we were talking about earlier would be kind of like, because it was mixed with like a little bit of like Valheim feel.
Alright, so it was Valheim, and what was Iron Smithy doing?
Grand Theft Auto 5, but I believe Iron Smithy specifically does roleplay when he does Grand Theft Auto 5.
Ooh. So, chat, let us know. What do you think you would like to see? Valheim or some proper RP on some Grand Theft Auto?
Where's the poll? I'm gonna do / poll. My bed.
My bed.
GTA 5.
Well,
RP?
Zetrix, unless there's something that you haven't told us, I'm pretty sure the rest of us won't be able to be watching that. So that might not be a valid option.
Just streaming, just sleeping. I'm only sleeping. RP or Valheim. Okay,
Got a whole
and I'm
new
gonna put
website
this
in the
for
works.
1
It's called
minute.
Only Naps.
Oh my gosh. I can tell you I'm already going to be one of them anyways, so I wouldn't mind going for Val. Okay. Works for us. I put up a poll, so make sure to click that poll. We got 2 for Valheim. Thanks for that idea. I'm gonna do that. Do it. There's actually a category, I think, on Twitch called I'm Only Sleeping. I'm so gonna get that.
Nice.
All right, we got 4 people for Valheim. 5. It's leaning 0 to 5 for Valheim.
Very, very heavy lean. Only Naps. Nice.
Only naps.
It's like a mukbang, but for people with narcolepsy.
Oh my
Heck yeah,
gosh,
that's
I love
fantastic.
it.
I love it too.
Holynaps.com. No, and then like hey, TV and Vertec, did you play Elden Ring yet? I'm not planning. I'm not a Souls player, really.
It's on the list. I really want to play it. But I just got to find time. I haven't had time to do as much as I want to with the podcast, let alone playing another game on top of it.
All right, looks like Valheim it is. We're raiding
Vertec has
Mr.
looked at my
Beckwell
screenshots, though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I have watched people play, so I'm enjoying it third party. I suppose you could say that.
I'm enjoying watching other people failing and going continuously because I would just get salty after a while.
Yeah, Tech Deck's one of the people I've watched playing it. Sim's one of the people I've watched playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Random
go ahead and
people
start
that
there.
I
Is
bump
that okay?
into on Twitter. Yeah, go ahead and get it going.
Okay.
But,
I'm starting it.
As we get this rolling, I'm going to take now to say thank you all for showing up here and spending your time with us. You could have been doing anything, including making your own little lightning bug logo that would obviously not quite be as good as is it supposed to be cayenne or cyan? I always get confused with that.
I think cyan, like the color, because it's a cyan.
Cyan,
color.
yeah. Well, see, it's every time I see it, I always want to say cayenne, but I was like, no, it's not.
That's
that.
a pepper.
Every time. Yes. I think that's why I say it, but my brain just trips every time. But no, instead you showed up here and you watched somebody hang out with us, and they have a cyan firefly
Yes.
logo.
Have a good night, Tech Deck.
We appreciate you. Without you, there is no us.
Yeah. Exactly. Pepperhead.
Pepperhead.
Oh, or you could be making your own Only Naps page. So
yeah, you could have been
either
making
or.
your own only naps, but now you can't because it's already taken. I expect royalties from the name, I'm just saying.
Thank you all for joining us, and I appreciate you hanging out for how long and how late it's been. And we will see you guys next week on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be having an old friend of ours, Sid, join us. He has not been keeping up with Ashes, and he will actually be watching live streams and giving us his feedback. So tune in for that.
What she said.
And we got 3 seconds, so.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.